Hi, quick thing to mention right here. I accidentally deleted all the Q&A questions on my post in my community tab. I'm going to be answering these questions, but you won't be able to see people actually ask me the questions. So imagine that I'm just answering questions based off my own hallucinations, I suppose. As you can see right here, someone recommended that I actually do a Q&A for my celebration. So I'm going to do that. But before that, somebody Dance over here, Dance Plays, actually recommended that I do a cartwheel. So here's that. How has content creation affected your life so far? What do you like and dislike about it? Can't really say YouTube has really changed my life all that much, as this is a hobby. I kind of do it like off on the side. It's kind of like, if you uploaded a TikTok or if you just posted like, I don't know, a piece of art online, maybe like it's cool to get likes and such. But like, if YouTube disappeared from my life, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Probably just make a new account, if anything, but like, it's whatever. As far as likes and dislikes, like, I love the community that comes from it. I feel like sometimes some members of the community try to get really close really fast. It's cool, but like, I would prefer that they ease themselves in. It's very flattering though. I do appreciate my community so far. There has not been many rotten eggs, though I have come across a couple. I think the thing I dislike is that YouTube is kind of a niche thing where like, if you don't have a niche, you're basically fucked for content. Because like, I put out what I think are somewhat niche videos every now and then, where like I'm playing a game that I don't think a lot of people know. But the thing about it is that they don't get a lot of views. I don't like how if I put up a video that's not Dota related, like it doesn't even get into triple digit views. Because like, it really feels like people only watch for the Dota content and not for me. And that's fine. I totally understand that. But like, sometimes it's just demotivating to want to branch out. Overall, it's a good experience. I would recommend anybody to make YouTube videos. Where does your funny come from? I mean, things you've watched that influence your humor most, where it's TV shows or stand-up or online stuff. So I think a lot of my humor comes from a lot of like trash TV, like Adult Swim kind of. Like, there was Family Guy, there's The Boondocks, there was Daniel Tosh, Tosh.0. A lot of dark humor formed what I found funny. Just overall, like things that society-wise probably wouldn't be okay out in the open. And I did have an issue with like separating that, like whether it was like making jokes and whatnot. I feel like South Park, Daniel Tosh, and Family Guy made up a lot of my darker humor. I really wish that more other stupid types of humor rubbed off on me, because I feel like I found a lot of fun in saying shocking things. But the thing about saying shocking things is sometimes people take you a little too seriously and don't understand that you are joking. Like, for example, like there's some people that go into a comedy club and then they get angry at the jokes that the comedian is telling, when really it's all just jokes. Sometimes I feel like when I'm on stream, I'll say like something stupid and then like people get angry and then they don't want to watch anymore because they just don't find it funny. And that's fine. You gotta filter people out one way or another. Like all sorts of humor, I really wish that I had ways of showing that, expressing that, but unfortunately, the things that tend to come off my head are usually over the top. What's your opinion on Dota now as compared to before your journey? As far as my opinion on Dota now, like, it hasn't really changed since I first started. At first, I thought Dota was pretty hard, a little meticulous to, learn and whatnot, but luckily I had previous experience with League of Legends. I don't think Dota, honestly, is all that difficult in general to be learning. I mean, yeah, there is the toughness of learning micro and macro, which is what makes it incredibly niche, but pretty much it's the hardest MOBA so far. But even then, I think like anyone that's played video games for a long time would probably be able to get into Dota easier than expected. It's not horribly tough. It is challenging, but that's what makes it fun. What made you try Dota 2? I'm gonna play this clip right here.
Do I play League of Legends? No, but I used to play a lot of Dota 2. I mentioned this before. Dota 2, for a long time. Wait, actually, it still might be. No, it's definitely one of my most played games by hours, but I haven't played it for years.
Yeah, that's what made me try Dota 2. It was Fauna and Kobo playing Dota 2. The fact that Fauna herself was a big Dota fan made me really want to play her because she was my Oshi. So after playing for about a year, how's Dota 2 coming from a League player's perspective? And what would you say to a fellow League player who are interested in Dota but always find it very terrifying to get into and invest their time? Well, I'm gonna say right now, variety is the spice of life. You know, it's cool to devote all your time into one game, but like, I feel like you're doing yourself a disservice if you're doing that. It's cool, but you know, there are always other things that you could be doing. Dota in itself is tougher than League, admittedly. I'd honestly say it's like a chess checkers situation. Almost. Actually, I scratch that. It's a shogi chess thing. Shogi is a lot more complicated than chess, but chess and shogi are both simultaneously very tough games to be learning, but obviously one is a little tougher. But, you know, once you have a frame of reference, you basically can pick it up faster. It's not something that's hard to learn. In League of Legends, it's a lot more skill-based, based on your champion interactions, where Dota, it's a lot more skill-based with your item interactions more so. So once you pick up the habits of like using a lot of active items, I think any League player could easily transition into Dota. What did you feel when you got your first YouTube member? Yes, I remember my first YouTube member. It was Ben's Plays. I don't know if they still use the same name. I think they changed it because I don't think they're a member anymore, but I'm always happy to see them whenever I do. I'm very thankful that they were my first YouTube member because frankly, that, like, you know, that's my very first supporter on YouTube, which is like outside of just people subscribing, of course. It's unfathomable to think that anybody would spend money in any way, shape, or form just to say, hey, I like your content, especially when I really don't have any content that's worthwhile spending money on, in my opinion. What is your best life lesson you've learned so far? I'm not sure if I'm going to play a clip here. So this is a show called BoJack Horseman, and in BoJack Horseman, the main character is, of course, BoJack Horseman. The thing about it is that he is a terrible person. Almost everything that he does is terrible. Almost. He's a good person deep down in his heart, but he keeps doing shitty things, whether it's for one reason or another. And what really sticks to me about this particular scene, and if I didn't show a clip, it's when Todd tells BoJack that it's just him. Everything is just him. Everything is his fault. It's not his shitty childhood. It's not how his parents treated him in his childhood. It's not the drugs or alcohol that he's always on. It's him that's causing these issues. And I really like that thought because a lot of people tend to try to blame their problems on other things, external things, but it takes a lot to realize that you are the problem. And there have been a lot of cases where I was a problem or when somebody else was a problem. And I've come to terms with me being an issue or others being an issue. And it's actually what caused me to start separating myself from people to an extent, because there are people that I've failed that I feel I don't deserve to try and fix things with. And then there are people who have failed me where I don't feel like they deserve to be part of my life. And I get like, from my perspective, it might not be good to decide for them that I can't try to fix things, but sometimes it's just best to accept when you're wrong, and I have. Hot dog, a sandwich? Depends on how many different categories you're saying, because like if you're saying like in the broad like food groups, if a hot dog is a sandwich, then no, a sandwich is a sandwich. But if you're saying like, oh, you know, there are only like two food groups, a sandwich and not a sandwich, then yeah, I guess I would say in that sort of circumstance, then yes, a hot dog is a sandwich. All right, Boxy is asking like a lot of questions, so I'll answer a few of them. Tumultulous, just a name, or is there more to it because I never heard that name before I saw your channel. Well, tumultuous is actually the word tumultuous, but I accidentally misspelt it. It was supposed to be tumultuous. I looked up a synonym of Discord one day when I was watching My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, as I wanted a name similar to him because he was my favorite character. I liked how silly he was. I really appreciated his humor. So I looked up synonyms to Discord and I saw tumultuous. And when I got my name, I accidentally wrote tumultulous. And yeah, that's been my name ever since because frankly, no matter how many times that I enter tumultulous into a video game or I don't know, some sort of account that I need to get made, tumultulous is always available. So I made it mine. What's on your mind when making that avatar of yours? I kind of get it about the fallen Cupid thing, but I think it's missing something, or I'm missing something. So the idea about the fallen Cupid idea was that I used to be somewhat of a matchmaker when I was in high school. So like I used to shipping things, and sometimes I'd help people with like love interests and whatnot. So I kind of got the idea to make myself a Cupid. Then like I thought, hey, I am someone who had a hard time with their love life growing up. So I decided I'm gonna be heartbroken Cupid, and the idea would be like Cupid isn't allowed to fall in love because if their heart breaks, then they become a fallen Cupid. And that's kind of how I came to be. Originally, my VTuber design was meant to be other things. Like I was meant to be like an isekai protagonist, and then I was going to wear some sort of goggles or different types of clothing depending on what kind of video game I played. But then I realized that would take a lot of work making all those assets, and it's just time and skills that I do not have. I really wanted to be a monster girl tamer though. That was going to be like my major thing, but I didn't know how to properly convey a monster girl tamer into a VTuber model. This right here, if you look at this picture here, this is what I originally was before I became the heartbroken Cupid. I know you're pretty hard to get overwhelmed, but after a lot of ideas, games, and suggestions from the fans, are you still not overwhelmed? I don't know what this is asking. Oh, am I overwhelmed with a lot of ideas and games? So yeah, I have a lot of things that I want to do, but I'm not overwhelmed with it. If anything, I just kind of feel bad that I can't get to it all. Because the thing about it is that if I could, I would stream every day. But if I stream every day, I wouldn't be able to edit as much. And I need to be able to edit as much because I get very distracted when I'm editing. I need to have something on my second screen. And then like sometimes I will like go on TikTok or read manga in the middle of editing. So it becomes a bit of a struggle. I'm more overwhelmed with things to do. I'm more overwhelmed with my ADHD than anything else. Can you tell your story on why you hate certain video game genres in the first place? I think I don't really have a video game genre I hate. I hate certain games that are horror, kind of like games that only rely on jump scares. I like games that are like horror based, where it's not just jump scares, where it's like earned, where it's atmospheric horror, where like, I don't know how to say it more than just outside of no jump scares. Jump scares are lame. Still planning to do the whole face reveal later? Or are you just gonna scrap it for now or start it slow with revealing other stuff first? I don't know when I'm gonna do the face reveal. I have stuff planned, but at the same time, I'm like, maybe it'd be fun to keep the mystery up a little longer. It's just fun. Any plans on updating your stream schedule on Discord? It seems you're pretty inconsistent with it. Nope, that is my planned schedule. It is not my exact schedule. It is just, I prefer to have that as my schedule. And if I decide not to do it, then I'll do well. It'd be one thing if I had like a big audience where like streaming were my full-time job, where I would have to like change the schedule all the time. But like, it's just a resource that I feel is unnecessary to constantly update. Maybe I'm not taking it seriously enough. I don't know. Do people need your permission to draw your avatar? Nope. You can draw my avatar whenever you want. Where can I see your avatar's full body? I need it for reference. Don't get any ideas. I don't know what he means by any ideas. Oh, sorry, Boxer. I didn't mean to assume your gender. I don't know what they mean by like, don't get any ideas. But yeah, in the Discord channel, on the hashtag fanarts channel, you could find almost my full body for this ToonTuber model anyway. I also have other things pinned of the original drawing of my avatar before I became this cute. Is that ghost next to you, your pet? So Ghosty is just a Kapamon. I saw Ash Plays LOL have one, and I thought it'd be cute to have one. I thought of making Ghosty like a mascot. Ghosty could be like symbolism of the love that I lost. There's some other questions that honestly feel like they're gonna bring the mood down, so I'm just gonna not answer them. But thank you everybody for giving me these questions and suggestions. Appreciate you. And that is all for the Q&A. I'm sorry if the video was a little janky. I was working on it, and then halfway through, it wound up getting fucked. So I wound up having to stitch it all back together. Luckily, I was able to recover a lot of my work, but unfortunately, a lot of edits that I made into this video got deleted. So hope you enjoyed anyway, and I hope I answered most of your questions. I didn't answer any of the ones I felt were a little overly invasive or just in general were a mood breaker. Night. Love y'all.